Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at USAGlobalTV.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is The Corner Bookstore, and we are welcoming back some friends who've been here before. We're excited to hear what their latest updates are, what their latest creative genius is. Before we bring them out, let's welcome the star of our show. It's DIANN FLOYD BOEHM. Hello, DIANN.
Hi, Dr. JACALYN.
So nice to see you again. How have you been since yesterday on the United Kingdom News and Culture?
Very busy, trying to keep my flowers alive in the garden.
Well, I know that you have a beautiful gardens, I should say, and your pictures are stunning. And of course, you've created more genius work yourself. Tell us about your latest work that's going to be released, if you can, or if it's a secret, you can say that as well.
Thank you. No, I'm very excited. So November 14th, or no, the 15th, excuse me, Ruby Takes Chicago, which is the sequel to Rise, A Girl Struggle for More. So I'm very excited about that. It's on Amazon and other bookstores. So yay! And then the release for Boomer, The Curious Bunny, came out about 3 months ago, and it's doing very well. So thank you for everyone who's ordering.
And we've had that bunny hopping around our network quite frequently. So we're glad to see that. Thank you for your sponsorship.
You're welcome. I'm excited about today's show. These authors are amazing.
They are amazing. And they've been here before sharing a lot of the work that they're doing and their own backgrounds individually and their partnership together collectively is so interesting. So without further ado, let us welcome Breakfield and Burkey to the show. Hello, welcome.
Ladies, thanks for having us.
It's absolutely a pleasure. So for people who haven't met you before, or maybe this is the first time they're seeing the Corner Bookstore, you two are a team, the dynamic duo. You've gone where people have been afraid to go. You're still here smiling and you have a new project together. So Charles, let's start a little bit with you and tell us about your background.
So I got started early on writing technical white papers, analysis for customers for in a professional services capacity. And I bumped into my charming co-author, and she also has a passion for writing. So it was an interesting bit of chemistry to be able to help put together some of the first technical nonfiction books we did. We found it rather unsatisfying, and so she had to coax me in off the ledge. Come back in the window, Charles. Come back in the window. We'll try something different. And so she very astutely positioned fiction with technical facts baked in. So we had a good running start at being able to write together, and then with the revectoring into the fictional world, it's been a great race.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I remember seeing a picture of the two of you. I think, Rox, you were in some kind of like something that they would use in a circus and you were pushing her. It was red. I think you were in Dallas or something. Do you recall what I'm talking about?
We were actually on a ship. We were on the Authors Cruise, which is a cruise that we take now and again for a whole bunch of authors to get better book skills and network with other authors. And that was one of the features on the boat itself. So, being the shy person that I am, I jumped right in and told Charles he had to push me. So,
So you let him push you around.
there you go.
Rox, tell us a little bit about your career. I believe that two of you started working together in the 90s and you were in the tech field. Is that right?
We did work together in the 90s, and I actually had the honor of hiring Charles as my boss, as it turned out. And so he was the manager of the group that we were working in from a contracting perspective. But then we kind of hopscotched from one job to another over time, and ended up at a company called Nortel, and worked there for a couple of years together. And then as the tech bubble popped, we went on to some other companies, and here we are today.
I love that. It's my background was in telecommunications. I was with AT&T for a long time and with Siemens, and that industry has really changed, hasn't it?
Oh, significantly. And AT&T used to be one of my customers for sure, in two of the companies I worked for, because I tend to like the manufacturing side of that. And boy, it has totally changed. I mean, we have gone from, people worrying about calling their local or long distance, trying to save a dime, and now everything is SIP and much easier in many ways.
Absolutely. Diane?
I'm excited about hearing about your books, and they're so amazing, and how you two come up with these ideas would be so awesome to hear, because it's such a different world than I write in.
Yeah, let's start with Charles.
A little bit of background. We've got our techno thriller series. They're in the imagery behind me. But we were invited into a group by another set of authors to participate in their crime series of novels, and it was such an intriguing offer. We're like, well, yeah, sure. We think we can pivot and take a good hard look at being able to come up with a suitable product that we'd be proud of, and that you'll be pleased to have in your series. And so the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles is sort of the newest thing that's working in parallel to our thriller series. And the newest one just got released August 20th, if I'm not mistaken, and that's the Killer Enigma. Now, it's labeled Book 16, and it's something of a misnomer, because everybody in this series writes their own book, and each one is meant to be standalone, but we all have the same perspective, and that is the town of Magnolia Bluff, small hill country town, small population. Everybody knows everybody. Gossip is their primary industry. It's one of those things, like, it looks so angelic from the outside, but it's their biggest inventory, or biggest industry, really, beyond gossip, is the cemetery. There's people dying to get into this location, and it's a fun exercise, because we get to share characters, story threads. Some of it gets adapted. We had one of the authors that's going to come in behind us with their book. He said, "Can I borrow your gal from the bed and breakfast, Lily? She's a very feisty. I wouldn't say opinionated, but or bossy, but she just knows what you should be doing." So they took a shine to that character, and so she's in a couple of other books. We've borrowed characters too. One piece of advice is to be careful about how you borrow other characters, because the first one we grabbed, we got an alarm message from them saying, "Oh no, gee, don't use that one. I'm going to whack them in this story. So so we had to backtrack on that one, but it's been a fun exercise, and we have position number 5 and number 16 in the series with 12 other authors that are all world-class cozy mystery writers and suspense writers. Very honored to be in their sphere of influence.
Wow.
Congratulations. That's exciting. Fantastic.
It is exciting, and how clever to use other authors to help build the stories. And I love taking characters and building on them in another story, which makes it so adaptable to screenplays.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rox, let's hear from you.
No, I mean, I think Charles said it all. It's small town in Texas, and so Diane specifically, you know what it's like to be in a smaller town in Texas, and everybody gossips about everything, and you know you get a perspective issue that's very interesting when you borrow characters from other authors that are also completing books in this series, and so each book clearly is a standalone. They have to be. But in borrowing the characters, you're getting different points of view on the same character. So it's like, oh, I didn't think about that person that way. But then you go back and think about life in a small town, and it's like, well, you know, I kind of like my next door neighbor, Maggie. She's such a sweetheart. She does flowers like Diane does, and it's really wonderful. But then George on the other side is like, oh, he's awful. Whereas, you know, Ralph may think that George is just wonderful to go play golf with. So you get different perspectives. It's really interesting when you stick with the small town that we created called Magnolia Bluff.
And I'm wondering, Rox and Charles, because of your technology background, have you woven artificial intelligence in some way into either of these, the Killer Enigma or the Flower Enigma?
Not so much AI in this one. We've used some other technology, but AI is woven into the series that's behind Charles, certainly. In the last 2 books in the series, 11 and 12, there is AI woven in there that you'll find a lot of fun with, actually. It's pretty spot on. But we do run our technology even through our cozy mystery of the Killer Enigma.
Thank you. Charles, would you like to add anything to that?
No, that's a good summary. We toned back the technology in the Cozy Mystery series, but it's still lurking in the background. It's the classic. I've got an ace up my sleeve when all things fail. So we try not to lean on it too much. We're looking for sleuthing, amateur sleuthing abilities, and keep the story moving fresh, rather than have to set and explain what cryptocurrency is and how to be able to leverage it, some of those things along the lines. So very, very modest references to the technical issues, but certainly it's always lurking in the background.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm wondering for myself and also for other people who are out there, I really like the idea of having a team, 2 people creating something together. And I know for some of my books, I'm doing that as well. But you two have been doing it for so long and you're so successful at it. How do you divvy up the work? Who actually does what?
So it's really easy. We actually both write. We form a nucleus of a story of the direction we want to go. We discuss it and talk about it. We weave in what are the salient problems, threats, trails that we want to make sure to pursue in the storyline. And then we kind of rough out at a really high level the first 10, 12 chapters that we want. And we select, I'll take chapters, odd numbers, and Charles take the even numbers, and we just start writing them. And then we move them together and smooth them and make them sound like a single voice, because that's very important to us.
So do you do this through a series of meetings, or do you each create your own and then somehow combine?
Well, it's actually it's a patent pending technique that we have. It's called literary ping pong. I'll write a chapter, ship it to her. She'll bounce it back after smithing on it, and we reciprocate, trying to get it so that the story is a single voice. So I think that's important to readers, so they're not being distracted. Like, okay, Charles wrote this one. This is rocks over here. Got it. No, that can't happen. We won't let that happen because it impacts the storytelling capabilities of the story. So we do a lot of that smithing, and to Rox's point, we might we're working on another techno thriller for release in the first quarter of next year, and we've gone through and put together I guess about 30 or 40 chapters that we've talked through, and at a very high level. And then we start, the first 10 or 15 chapters. Now, this is where it gets to be interesting, because by the 10th or 12th chapter, it's like, wait a minute, we've got a left turn here. The characters and the story are telling us you need to do something different than what you postulated. So this is where the magic comes in, if you will. I'm not trying to brag here, but it's important to be able to understand that the story does have something of life itself, and it does give pretty good advice on how it wants to be told.
Fascinating, Charles. Well, you're still in Spotlight. Can you tell us a little bit about the patent pending technology that you just mentioned? Is this going to be available for others?
That's actually a command line that I frequently throw out there. Yeah. I've actually had some people say, "Wow, what's a patent like that going to cost?" And I'm like, okay, sorry, I'm yanking your chain. How about that?
You had me at hello. Okay.
You said something that answered a question I had been thinking, is how you make it seamless one voice, because that is so important. Is there a character that each one of you really like, and you're like, no, I want this character. No, I really want this character. And then you'll
sometimes we argue about characters, but not that often. Normally it's the characters that we have selected for the book itself are usually the right characters. Sometimes the voice of what the character says, we do take a little bit differently. So if I'm doing dialogue for a gentleman that's in the story, and Charles doesn't think that a guy on this planet would ever say that, then he'll tell me that dialogue's just not going to work, and we fix that. That's where we think we have the magic of writing as a co-author.
That is so great. I love it. And fun too, because each one of you might be thinking about, we talked about originally the story going this way, but now as we've developed the characters, what do you think about the story going this way? Has that happened to y'all with the flexibility of writing, or you stay right on task of your first outline?
Well, again, it's an evolution of the story. And it's not uncommon for us to wake up one morning, either her or myself, and then send a text message to the other one saying, we use the four most terrifying words in our vocabulary. I have an idea, and that usually means that okay, prepare for impact. We're gonna skim the surface. I hope we land safely, but yeah, go ahead, give me the idea.
I love it. That's what makes it so exciting, right?
It can give us some very surprising results, even to us. It's not uncommon for us to say, "Well, we thought this, but boy, I like that idea. Can we use that?" And so it's a journey. It's a wordsmithing. It's story smithing, and it's what keeps them fresh. We don't use okay, pull out formula number 357, and we're going to use it for this. That's not fair. We've actually had reviewers comment on that, saying, they're not using the same formula. They're different. These guys come up with new stuff all the time. That's very, very flattering for somebody to catch that and comment on it. So Roxanne's been very adamant about making sure that our stuff is fresh and not using the same stale model.
That's great, Roxanne. Do you?
Yeah.
How do you stay all fresh? Do you go jogging? New ideas pop in.
I do go jogging or bike riding, and ideas do pop in, and that's always good. Reading an enormous amount of books like I do specifically, you pick up different ideas and different thoughts from somebody else, but I've never been a fan of a cookie cutter kind of approach, even to a series, because it makes it boring to readers. 2 or 3 books in, it's like, ho-hum, same thing. And so there are new technology threats every day. So for the thriller series, it probably in some ways is a little bit easier because we can pull down a brand new technology threat of, AI as an example, or whatever is the threat du jour that's going on, and focus a story around that threat. In the cozies, it's a little different because every crime and every criminal that causes the death of somebody has a different reason. So we just have to think about what that reason would be, and so I think we can stay original.
I love it. Yeah, you just have to listen to the news and hear about a new threat. So, isn't that a sad statement?
Lots of material to go from. I think for the audience to understand the depth and breadth of everything that you've created, let's take a look at your website. Wow, amazing. And I noticed on here that you have audiobooks. That's a place I haven't gone to yet. I'm kind of scared. What's your experience been with that?
So audiobooks are, they tap into a couple of new audiences that when we first released, we didn't think about. So you have people that maybe have trouble reading. The ebook can only get the letters so big, or, they just want to be like they were when they were a kid and have a story told to them. So we have our audiobooks for every one of the series books. We don't have them yet for the cozies because we're working with other authors in that case. But, we have the voice of our series, who is Derek Scholes. He's award-winning. He's absolutely fantastic. And he brings and breathes richness into the characters with distinctive voices, specific accents, and just a wonderful tenor to his voice. And the pacing is absolutely stunning.
And Rox, I think you really hit on something while we have you there. It's more than just the two of you. There's a team, right? A group of people working together to get all this genius out into the world.
Exactly. I mean, we have a voice actor. You don't want me doing the verbal part of the book. I mean, I can do a chapter or two, and I love reading chapters and things like that. But, for the consistency and the distinctiveness and richness of having a story coming alive and helping to paint the images in the reader's mind when they're listening to it is just unbelievable. But it also reaches a broader audience. We had someone recently come up to us at one of the art festivals that we had a booth at, and he was blind. And so the only way he could enjoy books was to either have them in Braille or to have them in audio. And so, we do have the audiobooks. We have most of them available for sale from our website, which allows people to be able to get some discounts, take advantage of some of the fun of getting it directly from the authors.
I have a question about audiobooks, then we'll go back to your website. Someone told me that you actually could go and sit in a dark closet with the door closed and do an audiobook. Is that true?
Yes, it is. It absolutely is true, and it'll sound like it.
So it'll sound like you're in a closet.
Yeah, muffled,
Yeah.
and the kids pounding on the. It's like any attempt at quality. You've got to have the right equipment. You need a good sound room. You need a good sound system. voice engineering, and then review. We go through, it's probably, each one of these books is about 9 hours. It takes about 30 hours of effort on his part to get it down to where it's flawless. And so, and just to Rox's point, we discovered early on that the audiobooks were amazingly different. We've written these stories. I mean, you've looked at them, read, edited them, blah, blah, blah. But to have them turn into a live conversation, to have them delivered as an audio format by a talented person like Derek Scholes, we get our popcorn and our favorite adult beverage and sit there and, okay, go ahead. We have some more chapters to listen to. And it was a fun exercise for us to listen to our work live. So it's that way. It's got to be that way for the listeners as well. So we're quite proud of the output and the offering that we have for the audiobooks, because the stories are quite good. But if you don't have time to read, it's like, oh, I got to take care of the kids, or I don't read anymore. Our old boss, he finally admitted to us he was just dyslexic, so reading was a real challenge for him, but he could listen like crazy. So it's an important offering. It stretches the media, so you're picking up new clients, new customers, new enthusiasm for your work.
Thanks, Charles. So is it fair to say, if you want to go ahead and make an audiobook, not to try this at home, folks, get some professionals to help you?
Well, I mean,
well, you can certainly do the audiobook yourself. But we would recommend that you get a good quality soundstage so you don't have a poor quality audiobook. I have heard of people that line their closets with foam and then sit in them, and that dampens all of the other noise. But having a studio is a little easier.
Thanks so much. All right, let's take a look at your website. I'm over here on it, so if you'd like me to go a certain place, I'd be happy to.
I think one thing that I want to make sure and raise awareness of to all of the listeners is the fact that if folks read any of our stories, so the ones on the left of center are primarily the thriller series. The ones all the way to the right tend to be the short stories or backstories to the series. Those are only available in an ebook kind of format because they're smaller and less expensive. But if anyone wants to read any of our books or listen to them and write a review and put that review on BookBub or Goodreads or Amazon or Audible, and then click the link to that review that they created and put it into that snag today, your chance for $25. We give a gift card away for $25 every month this year for people that will tell us where the reviews are and add the link in there. So nothing but winners can happen from that. It's so easy.
So they create the link, they leave the review, then they copy and paste the link, and then they drop it over here by using their email or logging into Facebook.
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
simple.
And we go through the Rafflecopter and do a drawing each month, and we pull out a lucky name, and that's who gets the Amazon gift card.
You touched on something that I think is really important, and it still remains elusive for me, which is reviews. How to get reviews. It seems to be so difficult. People say, oh, I read your book. I'm like, there's no review. Oh, I'll get to it. I'm going to do it. And it doesn't happen. What success have you found in getting reviews, and what's your secret? Obviously, this is a great technique.
Well, there's this one. The other one that we've tried to use, and Roxanne has convinced me it's not a good idea. And that's locking people's parents in a warehouse someplace and threatening. We don't do that anymore. It's I was told it was rude, so well, there it is. Okay.
One technique that I've seen used by people is if you have somebody's email address and they say, hey, I wrote a review and you can't find it, is if you just kind of, write a few words for them based on what they're hearing and send it to them and say, if this meets what you're saying, cut and paste it and put it into a review. It only takes a second. It is hard for people to do it. I'm not sure why. but it's very hard. If it's a problem, if they don't like something, they're great at yelling about it, though.
That's very
That
true.
is so true.
You know, something that I just want to share is that I was approached by a company on Instagram that they have a team of people somewhere and they actually will buy the book and they'll write the reviews. And so I paid good deal of money, and of course they disappeared, and then they reappeared and I got my money back, and they said they didn't have the people to do it, and now they do have the people. So I said, okay, I'll give you another chance. I didn't sign a contract, and they disappeared again. So the reason I bring that up is be wary of something that seems like it's too it's too
Good to be
good
true.
to be true.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that we ran into, true story, we had contracted with a group that says, we'll do a review for you. We will do an amazing review and be done in 2 weeks. Okay. 10 days later, bang, here it comes. And it's wrong. The wrong characters. It's got our name on it. Great review. But what they'd done is we'd surmised and confronted them with it. They had actually used an AI chatbot to be able to pull from the internet, and grab stuff off our website that was, nice material, but didn't match the story. And what was astonishing was we had sent the synopsis of the story to them, so they had to go by. They didn't even pick from that, and they had the wrong characters. And so it was. You've seen these people would say, here's a side hustle, you can make gobs of money by doing reviews, and basically it's an underhanded technique using chatbots, chat GPTs. There's several different flavors. Feed some stuff in, hit browse for it, it spits out a review, and they charge for it. So if you're going to pay for that service, I would insist on making sure it's not AI generated, so that you don't get and make sure you read it when you get it to make sure that did they get the right book, because they're prowling, they're using they're augmenting their the reviewers with chat GPT type stuff. It's an unfortunate set of circumstances. You just have to be, like as you said, Dr. JACALYN, be wary.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, because people are looking to learn things, and it's not that easy. It's not easy to write the book, to get it published, and then to get the reviews. And when you go through that whole process and somebody reaches out and says, "Hey, I can help," it's kind of like, "Oh, great, I could use some help. I can't do everything myself." And then you find out you got to do it old school. Knock on doors, send emails, give away raffles, whatever it might be.
That's true. Can y'all tell us about your latest book that you're excited about?
The Killer Enigma, that's the one that just got released. We're quite pleased with it. We had it on a blog tour, and some of the bloggers, Diane, you'll appreciate this. We each one of the days that we were on the blog tour, we had a separate video. We had a separate snippet we pulled out. We had, different comments and commentary. And by the time the middle of the week had hit, we pulled out what I thought was probably the most interesting segment out of it. And we had more comments on that particular segment. It was very gratifying. People saying, not just shining you on, but like, yeah, I'm going to have to read this because I want to know what, this 911 series that you put in here. I want all the background material around it. So we're getting some very good reviews. We're getting a lot of people saying nice things, and enthusiasm. That's always the best thing that keeps us going from a project to project standpoint.
That's exciting. So on your blog tour, you said you did a video for each day. Was it each one of y'all talking, or did you do like a trailer?
So the book does have a trailer that goes with it, but no, we did some little mini, what I would call shorts, Diane, that just focused on a specific thing, a specific character, a specific segment, just to kind of tease the reader a little bit. So, you know, those short little segments can be 30 seconds to maybe a minute and a half at the most. Just to tease. It would be fun to do them with you.
It would be fun to do, but that is so clever because we all learn different ways. We have the visual learner, the auditory learner, as well as the one who just absolutely loves to read. And so you're grabbing all the different learners and bringing them into your book. I just think that's brilliant.
Yeah, I do too. I can't believe how fast the show has gone by. It's already time to say au revoir.
Oh no.
I know.
Oh,
So I love to just go around and have each one of us just give some kind of heartfelt message to the audience, and then also how people can reach out to you and who you would like to contact you. So let's start with Rox.
I think a heartfelt message is here we are at the end of August. And, you know, I hope that we are all mindful that being nice to one another is probably the best thing that we can do, to make certain that we're safe and centered and you know, just realistic about what things can be. And reading does help, I think, do that. I think the best way to reach us is through the website, enigmaseries.com. Pretty easy. You can link us from there and enjoy, and you can read lots of samples, and there are some free downloads on that website as well. So that's kind of my message. And thank you, Dr. JACALYN and DIANN, for having us today.
you're welcome.
Thank you. It's been our pleasure having you. Charles, what say you?
I'd like to say that you know, some of the things that we study, that we paw through, the cryptocurrency, you know, some of the awful sides of the technology. We like to highlight that, say, be careful on some of this. It's very much trusting. It's expecting trust from you, but be cautious. So that because that once that your trust gets away from you, that scenario where when we had one of our authors in the Magnolia Bluff series, her account was hacked, and that horrible sensation of what do I do? So I put together some, okay, here's what you need to be able to do to be able to retrieve your identity, because it was gone. So it's one of those things where you don't want to have to do it. You need to know about it so that it doesn't surprise you, because life has got too many surprises as it is. And we try to offer caution in the things that we offer, and reminders of all the people around in this planet. They're not all nice people. They have a tendency to want what you own.
So true. Thanks for sharing that. I'm sometimes speechless at the emails that I get, and I think to myself, I know this is a hoax and somebody else is getting it and they're falling for it. I'm not going to be that person, but somebody is, unfortunately. DIANN, what would you like to share?
I loved what both the authors had to say, and you know, I always love to say, try to bring joy into your life. It is the end of August. I'm hoping the heat wave's going to go away, and then I'll be complaining about the cold. But I'm so excited to have had these authors today, and they're just so incredible, and I'm so blessed to know them. And as a very young author, hearing experience high quality authors speak, it's just a real pleasure for me to be with them.
DIANN, how can people get in touch with you?
The best way is my website, diannfloydboehm.com, and sign up for my newsletter, and you can always know what's happening. Thanks, Dr. JACALYN.
Thank you, DIANN. And for me, I think what I'd like to share, it's really in alignment with what you all have shared, is before you react to someone, take a breath, maybe take a step back, maybe realize that you don't know what's going on with someone else. And before you start jumping all over them, or maybe offering an opinion or offering a solution, maybe they just need someone to listen. So instead of engaging, if it's escalating, don't be part of that. Just be a safe space for someone to share what it is they have to share. So that's all we have for today on the Corner Bookstore. As we close out, we're going to hear from the beautiful the wonderful Diann Floyd BOEHM. We'll see y'all later. Thanks again for being here, Roxanne, Charles, and Diann. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hello, I'm children's author Diann Floyd BOEHM, and I am co-host for several of the USA Global TV and radio shows. I joined because of the purpose of the USA Global TV and radio. They provide content for the viewers and listeners, an opportunity for people around the world to have their own show or even be a guest on an existing show. We truly believe in helping others get their positive message out to the world. We also have the opportunity for the listeners. You can watch on several platforms, and on YouTube, you can ask questions and even give a comment. We absolutely love it. I love being part of the USA Global TV and radio because I love positive messages, and who doesn't? And we need more of that in the world. We are a family, and we hope you will join us and become part of the family too.